Now you intersperse throughout the book some of your own personal story and some other illustrations, even from Star Trek and, and others.
I had an editor who wanted me to take that part out.
Yeah.
At one point, and I said, no, I'm sticking with it.
Well, there's a lot of Trekkies out there who would appreciate that illustration. In fact, I don't know if you can share that now. Is it something you can?
Yeah, it's a quick one. It's the story from A Muck Time, where Spock is in a battle to the death with his friend James Kirk because he was chosen to do this challenge with being betrothed. And in the end of it, and this is why I chose this, was he asks his fiancée, why did you choose the challenge? And she said, well, if I choose the challenge and you won, I'd still have nothing because you'll be off on the Enterprise doing whatever you're doing, like we've been for the last 20 years. But if you lost, then I would have the love of my life. And at the end, Spock turns to Ton and says to this, he says that, or Stan, and he says, you'll find that having is not, after all, so satisfying a thing as wanting. And a lot of us have this desire for wanting, but it's when we get it. It's like we find ourselves climbing up the ladder of success, only to find out it's leaning up against the wrong wall.
Yeah. That can be a pretty jarring in someone's life. They think, you know, everything I've done to this point is so, you know, it's really important, and we've done all this, and then they come to a point in life of saying, even like Solomon was writing, meaningless. And Solomon would have been, you know, pretty seen and done it all. He was a pretty successful guy.
Well, the first 3 chapters list a lot of the things that he did, and you're looking at it and you're going, why at the end of his life is he saying this is meaningless? Because he did all this stuff.
Now, you make reference also to the band, the Byrds.
Yes.
Remind us about that.
Well, that's the turn to everything there is a season, and I didn't realize it initially. I'd heard about it, and of course this is back in the 70s and 80s, and we were singing this at campfires at church camps and youth groups and things like that. And then I started looking at it, and as I was looking into the history, I suddenly realized that, oh, this is actually pulled word for word out of Ecclesiastes, and it's the whole thing about there's a time for everything. And a part of finding joy and finding the meaning in life is recognizing that the things we're going through aren't going to last. It's something that God is taking us through at this particular time. You know, when I went through my last heart surgery with the valve replacement, I lay on my bed the night before going, you know, Lord, you know, Paul said to die is Christ, to live is gain. To live is Christ, to die is gain. I'd rather live right now, but facing my own mortality at that point. And so you listen to that song and you realize that there's a time for, you know, sowing and reaping and all the different things, and recognizing God's going to help us through each particular situation.
What do you hope a reader will come away with then after going through this book, which is, it's a fairly easy read. You've put it to a level that anyone can grasp. You have some little questions at the end of each chapter that we can ask ourselves. But what's really your goal here?
I think the goal is that at the end of the journey, as long as we put our faith in God, as long as we love God, as long as we live a life that's going to glorify Him, that no matter what we go through, no matter how meaningless it seems, no matter how repetitive it seems, no matter how much it seems like we're just chasing after the wind or striving after the wind, that as long as we're living that life, ultimately God will glorify us, or God will bring us to a point of recognizing that He's in control. I think the best illustration is I've been involved in scouting for a number of years, and one of the things we do is we have campfire blankets, and on those campfire blankets are crests from various events and camps we go to. Well, if you look at one of those crests and you look at the back, it's this tangle of threads, and it's just loose threads, and most of them have a rubber backing so that they don't come undone, but it's only when you turn that over you can see the picture. And even my campfire blanket, if you were to look at the back, it's the loose threads and the extra pieces of thread that are there from when I sewed them on. And then you turn the blanket over and you see the portrayal of the crests. And a lot of times we only see from the back. We don't see what's going on. And in some cases, it's only going to be in eternity that we'll finally see the front. You know, it's like a tapestry. You know, we won't see what that final picture is until the end. But through all of this, you know, as Solomon says, as the teacher says, love God and keep his commandments. That's the whole meaning of life.
So without that relationship with God, there really isn't much purpose, is there? Not much meaning. And so I believe, Robert, there's probably people watching right now that are just at that point in life of saying, I really don't know what to do. I thought I had it all together, and things just seem to be disappearing, and I'm grasping at things. And if that's you, I just encourage you to reach out right now. You can call our prayer lines. You can ask for prayer. You can talk to someone 24/7 on those lines, 1-866-273-4444. That's the number, and you can just ask for prayer. Just say, here's what I'm feeling right now. I feel like I'm chasing the wind. And we'd love to talk with you and pray with you. Well, Robert, thank you so much for sharing this time with us. The book's available. How can people get it?
Christian bookstores, Chapters, Amazon.ca and Chapters.ca, a whole variety of places you can get it.
All right, Chasing the Wind, Finding Meaningful Answers from Ancient Wisdom. God bless you, Robert. And we'll check in with you again sometime.